Hello, this is the Media Center of Ukraine, Odessa speaking, and today we start our work, and our first guests are now famous all over Ukraine, the founders of the construction group Technary, this Andriy Kosyak and Hennadiy Suldin. Yesterday, it was reported that thanks to their application e-air defense, we managed to take down one of the missiles, and it became known yesterday. So we invited them to join us to speak about the event. Hello, everyone. So could you please give more details about the combat application of this app, when it happened, what kind of missiles was that, and how they managed to take it down? On the 22nd of October, the system e-air defense registered the route of a missile, and all the observers who marked this route, they were not mistaken that they spotted a cruise missile, and they reported that to the expert of the air defense. Thanks to the observation, and it was timely, the air defense expert had enough time to get ready to focus the target, and the cruise missile Kalibr was taken down by the air defense forces from Manpad's Igla. So what do you mean by saying timely? How much time does it take for the photograph to be transferred to the military to get them the signal and they could make use of it? I have no idea about the photographs because the air defense app doesn't transfer any photos. It doesn't take you to take any shots. You just have to press the red button and to see that the air defense expert got the information. Since you press this button to the military is getting this information, it only takes several seconds. What does it mean to have enough time? When there is the airborne target, the air defense experts need several minutes to get ready. But since the Kalibr missiles and Shahed drones are flying pretty low, they cannot be spotted by radars on time. It doesn't relate to only Ukrainian air defense. It relates to the air defense systems internationally. At all time, such systems can easily spot the high-flying object, but not low-flying. So any radars, and I emphasize any radars, can see the targets at the low heights, so the reporting from the civilians play essential role in this war, because any Ukrainian citizen can spot a missile or Shahed drone and report the air defense forces about that. This is a very short procedure that takes just several seconds, but it can save life, because if on the 22nd of October didn't report about this missile, this cruise missile could kill someone. And I believe that our heroes are not only the air defense experts who took this missile down. I believe that the heroes and true defenders of our country are the citizens that turned their smartphone into the weapon and protected the life of other Ukrainians. I believe that geolocation should be activated on the app, right? Well, not really. If an individual doesn't want to switch on, activate the geolocation, the program will anyway report it to air defense. It's just the accuracy of coordinate will be lower, and air defense experts will spend more time to detect it. But even without geolocation, specification, it is very helpful to report. You don't have to turn on additionally anything, and this app doesn't consume much resource, and it works both efficiently both on Android of any kind of model. And another question, if we speak about the Shahed drones and low-flying missiles, so your app was designed specifically for such targets, or does it have any other options we're not aware of because Russia doesn't use this weapon? Well, this app was designed specifically for subsonic flying targets, because these are the targets of the highest threat, because such terroristic weapon as Shahed is really cheap to produce. And if the air defense of any country cannot cope with such a threat, this country suffers many risks. And this is a group of risks because the world hasn't seen such kind of war. Neither the world nor Ukraine have been preparing for such war. From my point of view, the air defense of the south of Ukraine, I mean the experts of the air defense of the south of Ukraine are the world's best experts, thanks to their experience. But our equipment is old, of Soviet times, and this is a huge problem. I'm ready to give the floor to the audience, but could you please specify how many downloads on Android platform do we have now, and when is it going to be released for iPhones? Well, speaking about the downloads, we have about 180,000 people who downloaded the app but didn't activate it on Dia app, and we have 160,000 people who verified their identities in the Dia app. And speaking about the iPhone users, we expect the release of the app very soon, and we expect the great increase of downloads since then. And this app is going to enhance the air defense of the entire country, because it includes the people who are who help to spot the missiles for the air defense. But I would like to ask about more territorially specifically, because we're in the south of Ukraine and we see missiles and drones coming from Crimea and the southern parts of the sea. But we know that these devices will be at some point used in the battlefield. Well, first of all, they are being used already, and on the day 1 or 2 already faced a major missile attack, and it motivated people in the western part of Ukraine to download this app. The thing is, many people in Odessa forget that we live in the front line. It's just the front line goes at the sea. In the first place, this app is intended for the rear, to protect the rear. If we speak national-wide, we're more interested in the country area, in the rural area. If we speak about the cities, then we saw the drones flying over Odessa, and it was resonated among the Odessa citizens. But our major target is to protect the cities in the rear, and since the Shahed drones fly along the rivers, and we have to understand that when we're driving from Odessa to Kiev, just 70 away from Kiev, we can't get the signal anymore. So are you saying that they use the landscape to hide from being detected? So you mentioned about this bunch of mopeds that emerged in the sky. So how many information, how many messages the military can get through the app? Initially, we developed the system taking into consideration that there will be a big load, and we realized the risks and took them into consideration during the design of the system. There is a capacity, and it's quite significant. If there are no questions in the audience yet, let me continue. As far as I understand, this system is just the first step in taking down the missile. You have to spot it to see where it's going, to specify its time. It's either a missile or a drone. But to make it work as a system, it takes many air defense systems that will be synchronized with these messages. Is it kind of a network it's a network. Well, it doesn't matter how I can see that. This is how I see it. How military see it. So military believe that the most efficient thing would be the fire groups that will be directed to the place where the Russian flying objects are going to be routed. And you can see that our air defense are doing a great job. Thank you, guys and girls. And you can see they're great experts. And, well, you can just place the air defense installation in the middle of the field, but Shahid will going to just fly over it because they have all kinds of reconnaissance, and that they can get over the stationary post. But if this is a mobile post and units that can move from place to the place, and I want to emphasize yet again that the air defense of the South is doing a fantastic job, and would extend my gratitude to the command and the officers of the air defense units, because in my opinion they're the world's best. At what level do you have the communication with the international community, with NATO countries? Do you have any negotiations, and what is their assessment of this development, and how can it improve the quality, efficiency of air defense systems, not only in Ukraine but also in the West? Well, first of all, they are not aware of it because nobody has been and still not yet ready for the threats like that. Nobody was ready for the fact that someone can make up an efficient weapon from the details from AliExpress. We were not ready that this weapon can cost dozens times less than any missile. So the West has no experience in that. And answering your question, if NATO experts are interested in our app, the answer is yes. We were asked several interesting questions and we answered them, but I cannot comment on that now. So we have a question from the audience, please. I would like to ask you to elaborate on the information where the most efficient information comes from ePPO. If it's rural territory or it's the city, the urban. Why rural is more efficient? Well, because the cruise missiles and Shaheds, They use the terrain, the landscape, and they can camouflage there from being spotted by the raiders. So in the rural area and the country, there are many more chances, there are better chances for the civilians to spot this terroristic weapon of the orcs. So any message from the rural area, from the highways, from the river areas, they are very valuable. So in fact, you now address to the people living in the Odessa region rather than in the Odessa city. And we appeal not only to the country, rural area citizens, but we address to everyone. Just find everyone and share this information with each person you know, with your granny or with your distant family, your cousins. They must be aware of the fact that this is essential, that it saves life, and that this app can save lives. And because one sweet lady can hit the button because she spotted the missile, and it will save lives. So this is very important. There is a question if you implied that there will be it will take some time for a human factor, because it takes time to press the app and just to get it from the purse, etc. So the very first version of the app only contained one button. Just press, you just hit the button, and that's it. But when the drones, the UAVs emerged, we added additional buttons. But once Shaheeds emerged, we had to add several specifications. But overall, you just direct your phone towards the direction of the target. You just select either a missile or a UAV and press the button. So this is a very simple algorithm, and we did our best not to make it complex. So another question is whether the connection to the network influences the efficiency, and important because of the blackouts. So the app is ultimately simple, and it takes very little resource. So in fact, we could do it because we designed it like that. So do you mean that it transfers the information through the internet rather than the USSD protocol? Well, it even works in 2G regime. Are there any questions? First of all, I would like to congratulate you on the successful combat application of your app. Congrats. And the traditional question, so what are your creative plans? What Technary team are going to do to enhance our defense? Thank you, good man. So speaking about our future creative plans, first, to improve the night vision systems for the military and for driving cars and trucks at night. Currently, we supply the military with the SAVA second-generation devices, but now we have an idea of how to improve it, and we're preparing the third generation of this device. Second is to continue with our mission as volunteers to provide powerful lights to the military to watch the Shaheeds and taking them down at night. As the developers of air defense app, we have great plans as for this app, but they only relate to the military part of it, because the civilian part of it is almost complete. We have to finished with the design of the homepage of EA Defense, and we will believe it is complete. Everything we're going to do for the military, so the main task is to decrease as much as possible the time from getting the message and to targeting the targets. So maybe I have the last question. Do you have any ideas? Because I know such capabilities were considered since 2014. So do you have an idea about producing kamikaze drones made in Ukraine using the enemy's tactics and against it? Well, I'm aware of over 2 dozen of groups in Ukraine who actively work on it, and the activity of these groups evokes confusion because even before the war in Ukraine, there were 3 types of UAVs, and I don't know what has happened to those designs. But for you to understand, Ministry of Defense is like a manager, but as long as the militaries appeal to the Ministry of Defense and say we absolutely need it, they won't buy it. I wouldn't say that we're a big, powerful team that can be influential at the point, but when we saw that there are so many people working on it, we decided to close down this topic of those attacking kamikaze drones. We want to do our best with what we're actually doing now, and it takes lots of focus. Thank you for your press conference, for the interesting stories. So if there are no questions, we're waiting for Ukrainian writer Irina Karpa, and we will speak about the changes in Ukrainian society and how. Thank you, and stay with us.